What up, YouTube Alayks, coming back at you with another Starcraft 2 cast. On the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have our red Protoss player Fenring, and on the top left-hand side of the map, we have our blue Protoss player Israel. So, based on what you saw in the title, this is Israel the person, not the place. Fenring is, in fact, not fighting a country. He is fighting another player. This is a PvP Platinum or Diamond level matchup. Fenring did inform me that he is playing as a random around 3100 MMR. So, Israel not sure what race he's going up against until right at this very moment. He does spot the forge. I wonder how he's going to respond to this. We don't have any buildings coming out yet for Israel, but it is also a forge, and we do have the probe right here, so I wonder if he's going to try and cannon rush as a response to this. I think Fenring has the upper hand on this probe, so he actually might kill Israel's probe here. That's a nice little pickup. It doesn't look like Israel is throwing down a pylon of his own. He is actually going to be walling off his main base, and we have the pylon right here coming down for Fenring. Typically, when you see this kind of situation, you want to pull, I believe it's about 3 probes to try and take out this pylon, but right now it is too late. This pylon is going to finish. Fenring is going to start throwing down some cannons of his own, but the forge for Israel is already up, so he's going to be able to wall this off if he is fast enough, and it looks like he is going to be. Israel almost locking his own probe out of the base. At this point, they're like, nah, every man for himself. You didn't make it. They're like locking the doors right before the zombies come in. This poor probe, his own teammate, almost walling him in fully. Unfortunately, though, Fenring losing the probe will not be able to catch the upper ground vision here, and Israel's photon cannon will be able to snipe Fenring's photon cannon. It does look menacing. It looks like the evil photon cannon out of this engagement, I'll be honest. So, unfortunately for Fenring, that cannon rush was spotted. Will get shut down, but he is not too slowed down in production here. He already has his cyber core and throwing down a Stargate behind this. Cybernetics core is not down for Israel at all, so even though this cannon rush was failed, it actually, I think, messed Israel up a little bit, just enough to delay that cybernetics core, and it's already down now for Israel, but it's been down for Fenring for quite a while. This the Stargate here's already almost finished. Looks like Israel's planning on expanding behind this. Taking a look at the resources, though, he's not going to be able to do so for just a little bit here. He is up in workers by 2 supply. But Fenring already has what is going to be an Oracle on the way. This is going to be so maddening. We do also have a Stargate for Israel, though, so this is quite the matchup. This is kind of like why I like PvP mirror matchup sometimes, or any mirror matchup. You see such similar builds sometimes. It's really something to see, but I don't think he's going to have an Oracle in time. I'm actually kind of confused. Is he going to go for a Void Ray? This will be able to snipe the Oracle, and we also have the shield battery in the mineral line. This will keep the probes alive. Oracles have a little bit of trouble DPSing through the shield battery, and it is a fully charged shield battery as well. We'll see if he gets any kills here, and as you can see, this probe, it takes so much longer for these probes to go down. Right now we have 2 workers killed so far, but the shield battery putting in a ton of work. If you have trouble against Oracles and you play Protoss, I highly recommend throwing a shield battery in your mineral line if it is something that you find yourself struggling with. But the Void Ray does come out. This Oracle leaving the mineral line with 3 kills. Not horrible, but typically with an Oracle you want a lot more kills than that. They are expensive units. It does look like Israel's Nexus is going to go down just a little bit before Fenring's. But so far, it's looking to be an even matchup right now. Almost identical in worker supply and army supply here. It's really anybody's game at this point. It does look like both players are going to go Sky Toss. It's Void Rays and Sky upgrades coming out of the Cybernetics cores here. I don't see this too often. I don't even play against it too often. Typically when I have Void Rays in the game, I'm either doing some messy cheese myself, or it was in response to something I'm building. But I've never seen Sky Toss versus Sky Toss. Or I shouldn't say I've never seen it, but I've not seen it in a long time. I've definitely not played against it in a long time. So, man, I wonder if we're going to see carriers too, if we're just going to see the classic Golden Armada, the Sky Toss ball. I kind of want to see it, I'll be honest, but each player is going to want to expand just a little bit more. Sky Toss is not cheap on the gas. You're going to want a lot more gas than this, Israel, I'm sorry to say. Taking a look at Fenring as well, he's not got both gas just up yet in the natural. We have another Stargate coming down as well for Fenring. Or I believe I already mentioned that. I think this is still just the second Stargate for this player here. This Oracle just chilling, almost dead, still with 3 kills. It is thinking about life. It is contemplating. It's out having a night out in the city, just doing its own thing. The Void Rays constantly being pushed out by both players, and we have shield batteries, or sorry, shield upgrades, sky armor upgrades, sky attack upgrades. Man, I'm just a little bit speechless. I'm not going to lie to you guys. At this point, it is going to be a standoff. Each player is going for that critical mass of Void Rays. I'm just waiting for the dreaded Fleet Beacon to come out. Man, if we see carriers, I'd be so happy. Keep in mind, though, in the patch, they were nerfed just a little bit. Now carriers are the priority target instead of interceptors, so they're a lot easier to fight against. You don't have to micro nearly as hard against them, which is fair, because typically as a Protoss player, you could just A-move your carriers, and the other player would have to focus fire them down, and that would really put your army at a little bit of a vulnerability, because then the carriers would just DPS the rest of your army. And it does look like we see the Fleet Beacon coming down for both players. This Fleet Beacon already finished for Israel, so I expect we're going to see either carriers or Tempests. Tempests wouldn't be a bad choice if the other player decided to go carriers. Right now, though, it looks like the Void Rays are going to be moving out, but Israel has a decent amount of Void Rays here, and he has the shield battery to fall back on in case he loses a little too much health on these Void Rays. It does look like Fenring got the drop on these Void Rays, though. He has a very strong engagement here, even with the reinforcing Void Rays. Able to come out ahead by 2 Void Rays. I expect that this Nexus is going to be canceled unless Israel can do something about this. This poor observer is just staring right at these Void Rays. It is in utter terror. It's like, oh my god, dude, my home. What are you doing, man? And it doesn't look like, okay, I was going to say, it doesn't look like this Nexus has been canceled, but Israel ultimately doing what I think is the right move, canceling that Nexus, especially because he didn't have any sort of response out of this, and it looks like there's going to be Void Ray upgrades coming out of this Fleet Beacon, so Fenring is going to go for the Void Ray play, it looks like, but Blue is going carriers, and at this point in the Sky Toss situations, if you're going Sky Toss versus Sky Toss, it's basically who has more carriers will win. And of course, good engagements too, but that's why I said Tempest might not be a bad choice, because they might be able to snipe these carriers out of the sky. But it is so funny to me that both players saw that this was going to be an unusual game with the cannon rush, with the slowed build by Israel. I don't think Israel intended to do this, but as soon as his build was messed up, he's like, you know what, we're just going Stargates. We're going good old Sky Toss. Taking a look at the army supply here, though, Fenring is ahead by 10 army supply, and there's a good amount of Void Rays here, catching this Nexus off guard, and Israel does not get the cancel on it. Oh, man. Little flyby snipe with those void rays. They're like a little gang. They're like, all right, who's on our turf here? Where are these nexuses? Because they don't belong here. Israel, interesting placement on this observer here. It's not really doing anything except spotting destruction. Israel's not responding to this. He is just looking at this. He's like, yeah, I have an observer. I can check this out and see that I'm in a bad situation here with this nexus, but I have the observer, though. Fenring doing a great job keeping his opponent down to 2 bases still, while he is on what looks to be 3 bases and almost 4. This one's not quite mining yet, but as we can see, he is moving probes here. It is going to be 11 out of 16 saturation for the time being. I do like Israel is trying to mitigate this by throwing down quick replacement expansions, but taking a look at the units lost tab here, it's actually not too crazy. It's only about 1,000, a little bit more in resources lost, in a difference in resources lost. So even though he lost the nexuses, Nexi, I have to look that up. I'm just gonna say nexuses, but it sounds so wrong. But anyway, the nexuses, he lost them repeatedly, but he is throwing them down still. The shield batteries, a lot of shield batteries. I would throw down, okay, he does throw down an extra pylon, because with all these shield batteries, if Fenring sniped the 1 pylon, all these would be useless structures, unfortunately. But it does look like he managed to cancel. I was going to say, Fenring did manage to spot this nexus again, but Israel managed to get the cancel, and now we do have carriers out for Fenring right now. He is still building carriers here. Taking a look, where are these rallied? Oh, here they are. They're rallied right at the engagement I was about to look at. See, but as we can see, these void rays are able to just snipe these carriers without really worrying about the interceptors anymore. And now we have the carriers for Fenring. So even through the super batteries, not enough to hold off this push by Fenring and this unfortunate nexus. I think this is the 3rd time it's going to be sniped. Taking a look at the units here, am I seeing this right? This is 94 probes. 94 probes for Fenring to 47 for Israel. This is insane. He has just been stuck on 2 bases this whole time. He's not been able to defend this at all. Upgrades. Looks like 3-3 is basically going to be finished for these carriers here on Fenring's side. And now we have 2 carriers in the main base of the blue Protoss player, along with a few hero void rays. Fenring throwing the Manor GG again. Israel throwing some salt. Not that I can say I blame him. But cannot always win on 2 expansions, and Fenring being a little bit mannered right now, but he is right. Unfortunately, Israel was just stuck on 2 bases, and this kind of decided the game here. They have a very similar build. Taking a look at the upgrades here, similar upgrades as well. Unfortunately, though, his bases, he just allowed his bases to keep getting sniped, and it unfortunately cost him the game. As we can see on red side of the map here, we have, what, 5 bases, 5 mining bases to what was 2 base. Especially in a mirror matchup, there's just not much you can do unless you get a really good engagement. At this point, I think Israel just left his keyboard. He's just like, you know what, man, the Manor GG, come on, bro. Left his computer on. But yeah, interesting game all in all. I like the double sky toss. Unfortunately, though, blue just did not have enough in him to hold this off. He was just stuck on 2 bases at such an economical disadvantage. At this point, I think we're going to see us a manual win, just destroying all the structures for the enemy player and ultimately winning the game. So Fenring playing random and still winning in a mirror matchup. Very cool game to see. If you enjoyed what you saw, please consider shooting me a like and subscribe. And if you want me to cast any of your own games, I will leave my email in the description below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.